Welcome everyone. This is your host Abraham L. Jaguar. This channel is proudly sponsored by the following publishers, starting with Silent Lake by Newborn Games and the Dusk's Embrace Quick Tour. Silent Lake is a story game of beautiful darkness and subtle horror. A murder has impacted an entire community, and it's up to you to unravel the mysteries, both natural and unnatural. Then we have Dead Tree Studios, publishers and developers of Dames of Asstoria, a tabletop role-playing game where you play as monster girls experiencing high adventure in a world that doesn't fully accept them. They have also released the Pay What You Want tabletop RPG, Daughters of Lamb, where you get to play as cybernetic nuns with guns, looking for the missing pieces of their AI god. Next we have the Red Room Publishing. Please check out their store for exclusive tabletop RPG products. And check out their recent release, the Red Alerts Zine, which contains articles, scenarios, campaign setting ideas, and many other things. To be used with the Red role-playing games, or any other tabletop RPG as well, it's very easy to apply those ideas. All of the links to these amazing publishers will be in the description and in the pinned comment as well. Now, this time, I am reviewing Spicy Game. This is not for the kiddos. Kiddos, go back to mom and go and play hopscotch or whatever, right? Because Sinisistar 2. Sinisistar 2 might be currently might be my favorite adult video game of all time. Perhaps, probably, most likely. But it has some very twisted things. It has some um, spicy content, but you also have some very gruesome, nightmarish body horror stuff here. So much so that the publisher Eroge Japan has released the patch that unlocks all of that separately. And they have to host it in their website. I'm going to put the link in the description of this video. At the time of this video, the patch is perfectly easy to download. They have like a mega link. Mm, and it is virus free because it's the official site, and but always you can always use the virus total website. I'm going to put the link to that website in the description as well. It is not absolutely like foolproof, but it allows you to analyze those URLs of spicy things, right? But Sinisistar 2, the patch is definitely worth getting for the full experience. If you purchase it on Steam without the patch, without applying the patch, you get the light version, which reduces the shocking content a lot and eliminates the spicy content completely. I think that they did this because there is a character that looks, well, they don't tell you the exact age, right? But it looks considerably young. One of the, you could say it's the tertiary character. And so maybe they did that because you know that Steam loves bending the knee when it comes to certain people, right? Okay, okay. Now let's talk about the quality first, the quality of this game. Oh, I have to be very careful when it comes to showing you what this game is about. Because... Oh, um, careful, careful. There we go. Yes, because one wrong move can get this video demonetized. No, not demonetized, banned completely, completely banned. So I'm going to be very careful when it comes to showing you the content. Let's take a look at the my face so that I'm not in the way. No, apparently not. Okay, okay. So you see here, when it comes to the quality is incredible. Some of it is pixel art, style. Some others are, as you can see on the left, it's more modern anime type of game. The visuals, incredibly beautiful. Just look at them, right? And this is not too just commenting on the sexiness of the character, right? That is obviously very well endowed to yes, for the audience that plays this for certain sensations, right? But when it comes to the art in general, just look at that. You can see like these modes of almost like dust, but it's kind of like magical power. There is a 2.5D depth that you can see, and I will show you more about the world in a few moments. I'm just giving you the preliminary comments. Um, the heroines, they are stunning. They are so beautiful, right? A, a masterpiece of artwork. Now, the sound. It is atmospheric for the most part, but some of the stages they have this really beautiful, bleak music, like very soft piano. There is one that I cannot activate because it will trigger the spiciness. I think you get uh, you get a certain event in a village, not this village, another village. Um, And don't worry, this video is not going to contain spoilers, but I do want to discuss the ending at the end of this video. I will give you a warning when we enter into spoiler territory. Hmm. But yeah, there is a village where your character goes through a certain situation, and then you have the music for the first game because there is a SINISISTAR one. But don't think that you need to play the other one to understand this one. They are standalone games, but there are certain connections that I will discuss later on, especially when it comes to when I start talking about the spoilers. And like I said, I will warn you. The sound fits the stages, and I will show them to you in a few moments uh, perfectly. Like in the village that I told you, like very soft, like a suspicious sounding piano, like tin 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 tin. Some of these tracks come from the first game. Some others are completely new to this one, as I understand it. Because I never played the first one, I did see some videos about it in YouTube and in the yellow YouTube, but I didn't purchase it because when you purchase it on Steam, you cannot download the patch for the first one. You need to purchase it again in the deal site, and since the fucking card crisis that PayPal and certain uh, cards that of credit that I don't know if I should mention in this video. I don't want the video to get shadow banned or something. You have to go through some hoops to purchase things in the deal site, and I don't like those hoops. But so it's a shame that they don't allow the patch on Steam or in another website or whatever for free, because Eroge Japan, the publisher for this game, doesn't have the rights for the first one or the first patch. So it's probably going to end up stuck in limbo unless some more valiant mm, stars like Good Old Games, GOG, if they sell Sinistar in their website, or perhaps Kagura Games, I'm sure that they would include the game. The game would be patched. The localization, very good. Usually in these games, you see, you can ask about many things. I heard that long ago many tomes and holy relics were here in Arseson. If you could find purification techniques or relics left behind by the saints or their followers, they could prove useful in your fights. The English is very good. It's a good translation and localization. Usually in these spicy Japanese games, the team is not very competent, maybe they because of the budget, right? And you have like some very weird translations, but not here. What else can I mention? The presentation. And this game is a Souls-like. This is a Metroidvania or Soulsvania type of game. But just take a look at this, and I'm going to be very careful. Okay, here you have the tips. We will talk about gameplay in a few moments. You have the gallery. I am not entering the gallery because the gallery is where the spiciness takes place. The gallery collects every single controversial encounter that your character goes through. And it even has a section to have the character enacting or reenacting when the character takes damage, when the character passes out, where the character fights. Like all of it is there with the graphic on the left changing accordingly. You see this beautiful woman on the left, Lilia, and she, according to what happens to her, she changes position into very suggestive positions. And you even take a look at the on the right breast, you can even see like a little mole. And so when the breasts are a bit more exposed, you see another mole in another position, which adds to the realism, I would say. But let's take a look at the character setting. Okay, character setting, look. You can change the name for the character. And for those of you, you can change the difficulty. And those of you that have played the first one, you can pretty much play as Raviane, the protagonist, for the first one. And I will talk about her in the spoiler section because there is something that perhaps is revealed in this game. Now, when it comes to, you can even change the character voice. Look, Natsuki Nogami or Haru Amachi, which is the voice for Raviane, as I understand it. I'm not playing them because the sounds could be a bit too lewd, and YouTube, you know how it is. You know how YouTube is. They're like, oh, yeah. I was just thinking, am I showing too much skin on the character on the left? But because another other people that have released footage of this game, sometimes they censor the character, but we'll take a bit of a risk, right? It's not too much. Now here in the character image, you click on it, you can keep it normal, you can change it so that the character has brown hair. Do you see? Same character with brown hair. You can change it to remove the tights, no tights. You can modify the skirt. That's the one that I like this. You can remove the tights with the brown hair or with the blonde hair. And look at this. Take a look at this. Ravian. If you can, if you want, you can play as Ravian. Look. But the main character in this game is Lilia, and I find it very suspicious that Ravian is available, right? We will talk about that in the spoilers. Okay, let's change back to Lilia with the slit because that's my favorite one. All right. So before we proceed to give you some gameplay examples, let's talk a bit about the story without spoilers. Because believe it or not, there is a story to this game. That's another thing of the spicy games. But, well, just to close up the quality section, the quality goes to 11. Top notch. Now, the story. The premise. In the city of Arseson, or the village rather, there is a great threat. Suddenly the dead are rising. All sorts of undead aberrations, but also other monsters, and even creatures that you would expect to be more natural, like predators and beasts and insects and whatnot. They are very large. They have mutated, and all of the enemies, they seem to have a preference not only for devouring and mutilating their prey, but also, how can I put this without the shadow ban? Getting inside their targets, if you know what I mean, right? If you catch the drift. They like to get inside the targets, but I promise you, there is a lore. Because at first you're like, ah, well, they did it because uh, it's for the lewdness, right? For you to imagine that, oh, it's a different type of situation, and the character is experiencing pleasure, right? But no, you will find these little books with lore, and when you talk to the secondary character, tertiary, if you count Raviane, Hania, the other protagonist, the story is very disturbing, and it makes sense. You're like, oh, so that's how they justify all of the spicy content. So, like I said, all of this is happening, and the church, even though there are some things about the church that are fall in the spoilers category, but the church only has these two young ladies fighting off against this threat. You have the main protagonist, Lelia, which is kind of like the muscle, although that is questionable, right? She's the muscle, she's the enforcer. And Hania, who is like the brains, the scholar, she's like, oh, let me decipher this. Oh, I understand. As legend has it, or the myth. And she gives you like the missions, like, and the clues. Go to this place and do this and that. You can also go to this other place and do this other thing or that. So that's pretty much the story of the game. If I go deeper, it's going to fall. It's going to be a spoiler. So you go and talk to people in this town of Arceson, of the village. Like on the right, this a shopkeeper. Mm, you have these other villagers. Everything looks so bleak and covered in shit. Everything is so dirty. Some of these villagers are, I guess you could say, decent. But they all have. This game is so sad. Like, nobody smiles. Nobody smiles. And there are some other villagers that I'm not going to say which ones of these people. Some of them, they don't have the best intentions. And just look how Ravian is dressed, all pretty and neat. And you don't want to wander even in this village into certain places, right? If you catch my drift, because you will trigger some events, and the character will suffer for it. Mm. Let's talk about the movement. Let's go back to the church. This game has very few moves, but it forces you to master those moves. You have the normal attack, which is pretty bad. Right now I have the best weapon in the entire game. But as you can see, it's very short range, very slow. Forces you to attack the enemy with just the tip. Not within that context, right? You know, like just the tip is fine. So you're like, oh, poking the enemy from afar, trying not to get attacked. But you also have the right trigger, which allows you to run. Look, not super fast, but fast enough for you to make some escapes. And if you jump, remember this, because this game, like I said, doesn't have too many moves, but mastering those moves is going to give you the victory in battle. When you run and jump, you will reach longer attacks, because there could be some situations where you're standing in this little platform and the enemy is too far, and if you jump without running, you're like, oh, I can't reach the enemy. But if you do the run and jump, you will reach that enemy. You also have this attack, which is magical. You can combo. If you strike once, you can strike again. It's an arc that deals more damage, has greater range, Could strike several enemies at once. Changes when you jump. And you have the bow. The bow, you hold it down. And the moment you release the arrow, when the little star that goes through the reticle, if it's in an upper position, look, the arrow goes up. You just shoot, like, which is the, what is it? I have the different controller, but in the Xbox controller it would be the B. Click, just tap it once. It's a bit like a straight arrow, somewhat. But here's another thing. If you hold down, that is, if you crouch and try to shoot the arrow, the reticle starts below, do you see? If you hold up and use the arrow, the reticle starts up. So you can immediately shoot up or down. This is going to be vital, crucial. The difficulty of this game, definitely, if you are not a veteran of platformers, Metroidvania, Soulsvania, Souls-like of games, because this game is hard. Play it on casual. Do not play it on normal. If you are experienced, play it on normal, and you'll enjoy the challenge. I haven't played it on hard. I am thinking that maybe I should, just to see, because they say that some of the enemies change their attacks a bit, their attack pattern, so I'm curious about that. Maybe I will play it. But yeah, if you are not experienced, do not even dream about playing it in hard, because normal is going to give you plenty of challenges. So those are the attacks. You can crouch, you can jump, like I said, you have the arrow, the arc. Now let me show you a bit of the gameplay. So let's say that I'm off into the wilderness. You see a zombie, and I have to be very careful because these zombies, yeah, you cannot let them touch you because they are going to do stuff to you. I'm sure you can imagine. So you fight the enemies. There are many hazards and traps. Alright, do the arc. Some of these grapes, apparently not these ones, but some of them, they have hands springing from out of the ground. What I really like about this is that many instances in this game, they have details, hazards, and enemies particular to a specific zone. So maybe you see a single trap or hazard that only appears in the entire game, only appears in a very, very specific particular section. Like a room. If we were to look at this as a sort of role-playing game, and it is to a certain extent, as a Metroidvania or Soulsvania, you can level up, you can buy things. The merchant sells you potions for health and the magic. The merchant isn't like it's part of an event. It's not always there. But like I said, there are some rooms that have very specific details to them. Those details never appear in other parts of the game. So it really shows the love that the designers, developers, the artists, I would say, dedicated to this game. They have a love for the gothic, the decadent, the medieval horror, the erotica. They love it. They pour their hearts into this game. Let me show you some of the other places, but I don't want to give away the map. Well, let's talk about that a bit. The map here works a bit like the old Nintendo Entertainment System Friday the 13th map, but less confusing. So if you want to go north, you just go up, right? And now you're in the north section. If you want to go south, you look for an arrow that points down. Like this one points up, so that's north. But this one points south. So we crouch, we go down, we go south. Right is east, left is west. Very easy to traverse, and you have a map when you pause the game you have a map showing you the entire all that you have explored so far. But now I need to hide this so that I can show you other parts of the game without spoiling things. So I pause, I go to the map. Let's show you Vampiric Swamp. I show you the highway, right? Mm, let me minimize myself, my face cam again. Like this. This is the Vampiric Swamp. Okay, careful, careful. Yeah, there's quicksand. You have these horrible worms that I'm killing because if you stay too long in the quicksand, oh no, you die. You die. So be very careful. Another stage. Let me show you another one. We go again into the face cam. We go to the map. Let's go to the Northeast Village. Northeast Village. A village that is rumored to have been abandoned. Or perhaps incommunicated, like there's very little communication with it. We continue. Oh, there's a up. Yep. Nope. No, no. But yeah, yeah. You get the picture. And what I love about this village is that it starts with this very low atmospheric, almost imperceptible like sound to it. But once an event occurs, and like I said, they're gonna show you that event, the music changes so beautifully. Let's show you another stage. Let's show you the cathedral. Here we go. And here's a perfect example of the beautiful music. Listen. Maybe you will need to turn on the volume a little bit. But this music of the cathedral expresses perfectly what the cathedral is all about. Do you see these staircases on the background? You can go up those staircases. I don't want to enter this room because I could get attacked by some enemies that could tear off my clothes in a matter of seconds. But the music, like it keeps going up. And this is a stage where you need to keep going up. So you see, it's so beautiful. It makes so much sense. Let me show you another stage, just another one. Like I said, I don't want to spoil many things. Let's go to the the sewers. Ah, no. Okay, no, I think that's a spoiler. Okay, this is the demi-human lair. And you can see that something is very wrong with this place when it's the only stage where the statue of the goddess that restores your life and allows you to save the game has been beheaded. Just like in real life. Take a look at the ancient statues, very, very ancient statues, and they tell you, oh, the passage of time destroyed just the head, right? Just the head. Uh-huh. Oh, no. Maybe I can, you can see an image here. Typical orcs and goblins. And if you know something about the Goblin Slayer, you know what the orcs and goblins do to their prisoners, right? Uh-huh. Or the goblins in Goblin Slayer. So we're not proceeding further there because there is a chance that one of those enemies gets through my defenses and whoop, the video is not YouTube suitable. Okay, let's go back to the church or cathedral so that I can give you further thoughts about this game. And you can check the Steam page. I'm going to put the link in the description of this video if you want to get a better appreciation of the music, the graphics. They have a trailer, of course. Artisan Monastery. Okay, so what are my thoughts? Before we go into spoilers, what are my thoughts on this game? Superb, magnificent. Even if you don't play it with the full content, if you only play the light version, you will not regret it. But definitely get the patch for all the horrible content. Certainly, let's discuss that. There is a lot, and I mean a lot, of hardcore body horror. The voice actresses that I told you, the Japanese voice actresses that you saw here in the settings section for the characters, they are incredibly talented. When the character gets something shoved down their throat, the sound is like a, I'm not a professional, right? But like a, you know, it's so realistic. But when something is put inside their mouths, that is not so gruesome. That's saying something, right? They managed to make it sound so sexual. There is no other way to put it. So spicy, so spicy. It's so spicy. YouTube do not shadow ban this video. So it sounds very, very spicy. In general, I would say that this game, it has several fetishes. I think that those that are into Guro, I am not. For those that are curious about Guro, it's basically content that gets some people excited when the character is chopped, cut, eviscerated, like it's gore. There is another term that starts with an N and ends with an ilia. I think it's pretty close to that. There's a lot of that, but it's certainly not all of it. It's not even, well, it could be half. I'm not sure. That's like the horror for someone that is not excited by that. That's like the horror portion, right? But what about the loot portion? Many of the enemies, like I told you, that they're not particularly interested in just killing the character. They want the character to give birth, to put it like that. So there are many instances where the character, against the character's will, is engaged, right? Interacted with. And it looks like a typical spicy scene, but with monsters. Even the humans that do this in this game, that do the act, they are ugly. They are dirty, they are evil, they are ugly. Some of them are mutated, some of them are pretty ugly. So you really have to, how you say, block them out for your fantasies, unless that's your fantasy. There are some people that are into that, like they say in the fat bastard situation, right? But I'm not into that. I'm all about the both characters being handsome or beautiful. So I have to block it out. but it's very suggestive. Like there are these monsters, these aberrations with, of course, the tentacles, right? The tentacles and the slime, and they start to do a bunch of stuff. So you really have to. You could say this game is a bit of a workout for the imagination, for you to imagine something else while the act is going on, because the positions, the caresses, and the sounds that the heroine makes is some of the spiciest content that I have ever seen in spicy games in my life. Definitely, it will get something out of you. Apart from that, I guess that's pretty much the spiciness. All of the dangerous situations the heroine goes through. You don't need to lose for those events to occur, but there are some events, there is at least one event where you are forced, no, I would say a couple where you are forced to go through those things. So saying that you finish this game following the virgin path is questionable, even if there is no seed planted on the field. The heroine still gets into some precarious situations. But once you defeat enemies, you conquer a dungeon, all of the scenes are available in the gallery. However, there are a couple of them that you cannot get until you go through those events. Very, very specific, that you have to go and get affected by this enemy, and then you need to return here for the event to occur, or there is a particular hazard. Well, I guess that's not a spoiler, and that's more for the Guro people. Like I said, there is if you fall down a cliff, your character is going to suffer a horrible end. You can only get those scenes by suffering that end. There is no unlock button. If you're thinking like, oh, excuse me a moment, the lighting. There we go. I have my screen for the lighting, and it was like getting blown off by the fan. But yeah. Some of those, how you say, ah, a moment, please. Let me take care of. There we go. Okay, as I was saying, there is no button to unlock all of the gallery. You have to go through, if not lose against the certain enemies, you have to defeat them or conquer the various dungeons. So yes, this game, if you are just getting started into spicy horror video games, because this is a horror game, it's a bit like when the old black and white Dracula films. Do you remember Bela Lugosi, Dracula, black and white, several decades back? You see Dracula biting the neck of the heroine of Mina, right? And you will say, wow, what is that? But a lot of people looked at it almost like a normal, spicy interaction. And Bela Lugosi, believe it or not, he got so many letters from women, like spicy letters, because they got turned on by the way he was biting the heroine's neck. So that being said, I wonder if this game is suitable for the female audience as well, because they could again imagine like it's something else. The dangerous situations the heroine gets into, maybe they could imagine that it's actually a guy interacting with her, right? The guy of her dreams or whatever. Because the sounds, they're really, really good. But I think it is mostly for the male, because the monsters and the humans that interact with the heroines here, they don't have like really sexy noises. The monsters, they're like, you know. So you're expecting more like a manly, sexy voice, like, oh, like, you know. No, you won't find that here. So my highest recommendation, the highest of recommendations on my part for this game. And look at it, it's already almost like it's 40 minutes long. My review, that is, of the game. So you can tell that I really, really like this game. Get SINISISTAR 2. It's standalone from the first game. It has everything. It has a coherent storyline, despite the spiciness. Some situations could feel like ridiculous if it was not explained by the lore of the game. You're like, oh, it makes perfect sense considering the real threat. It makes perfect sense that the enemies are trying to do that to the hero. The action is good. This is Souls-like, very difficult. Don't expect a very easy Metroidvania. No, here you need to be very careful with your enemies. You need to know when to crouch. You need to memorize patterns. You will die. I think that you will die playing this game. Don't forget about the attacks. Take a look at the character tips. Use the arrows. There is a lot of variety when it comes to the way that you fight the bosses. The patterns, that is. I don't want to spoil things, but I could say that there are some battles that are co-op with a non-player character assisting you. They are very exciting and very difficult. But yeah, my highest recommendation. Definitely get SINISISTAR 2. I consider it to be the greatest spicy game that I have ever played. When it comes to video games. Greatest spicy video game. At least on the Metroidvania side, on the Soulsvania. And there are many other good games out there of spicy nature. But this one, it's my favorite so far. Now, get ready. We're going to talk about spoilers. Get ready. If you don't want to have some of the surprises ruined, walk away. Okay? Spoilers. Spoilers from this point onward. Spoilers. Okay, spoilers. The ending. We are talking about the ending. Let me verify that everything is... Okay. Some of you may be wondering what happened to Raviane from the first game. There are hints in the lore. Hanya tells Lilia. There was a nun that tried to fight this evil, but she failed. So it makes you think that the canon ending for SINISISTAR 1 ends not only with the death of Raviane, but Raviane being turned into a brood mother. And many of the monsters that you fight in this game could have come out straight out of the womb of Raviane. Now, there are some that say, no, that is not possible. And their argument is, well, in the deal site, they say that Raviane was sent to Caesarea. And this is Alcesson. Well, you know what? The names of places change according to the ones that have taken over. People in the US, did you know that Chicago used to be called Chilaga? They won't tell you this, and they will try to erase it from all history books because it clashes. In science fiction YouTube, this is not true. It clashes with the current political power. But yeah, so it's not too far-fetched to think that Caesarea was renamed to Alcesson, because many of the places and definitely a lot of the enemies that you fight in the previous SINISISTAR in SINISISTAR 1, they are the same in SINISISTAR 2. And if we were to stretch things further, you even find the ashes of a saintly woman. And I wonder, like, are these the ashes of Raviane? That is not as likely, but still interesting to think about, right? So that's the very fascinating, but also very melancholic. When I first read that piece of lore, when Hanya speaks to Lelia about that, I was a bit shocked. Because Raviane, she's a very cute waifu, right? So just imagining that the canon ending is Raviane failing, and there is a scene in the ending of the first game where she gets jumped by something, right? So The possibility is that Ravian got overwhelmed by the pleasure the creature caused upon her, and she ended up birthing a bunch of horrible things. But it's so sad. And another thing that makes me think that it is actually the case is because when Hania tells Lelia this, Lelia, she stops in silence. There is like this, how do you call them? The three dots, dot, dot, dot. And then she says, let's end this threat, or something like that. Let's end this threat for her as well, for her sake as well. We don't see Ravian anywhere. And there is this option to turn into Ravian. So I think that the first Sinisistar occurred in the past, within 100 years in the past. And that would also explain why the land is so taken over by evil. I think that Ravian failed in her quest, and it is up to Lelia and Hania to take care of business. So that's pretty much it when it comes to spoilers. Thank you for watching this review of SINISISTAR 2. I hope you found it informative, entertaining, and thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the Super Thanks button. Definitely like, subscribe, comment. Take a look at the information in the description and in the pinned comment. This has been your host, Abraham L. Jaguar. And remember, level up in game and level up in life. Once again, thank you all, and see you later.